long-awaited...
I'd like to present to you guys the best faction, the most diverse faction, with some of the most beautiful models in all of Malifaux.
Get a real faction.
Yeah, and we steal all the good from everyone, and we absorb it into our faction.
Yeah, but 10 Thunders.
We got
something that they were.
I'm really excited. We've got Asami Tanaka, a 10 Thunders only summoner. So none of you other factions can borrow her. She belongs to us.
Yeah, you can keep her in your stupid Oni. Yeah, so there's this is only their second master that is pure 10 Thunders.
Yes, her at Shedwell.
Yep.
So we did a little bit of before talking about her. Months ago, theory crafting.
Some of the speculation when all we had was the front and back of her card.
Yeah. So Asami Tanaka, she's a master living. She's an Oni. Has a cache of 3, which is pretty good for a summoning master. Because I've seen some most summoners that usually have 2.
It depends. Like one of the big things is if they have ways to get extra soul stones, they definitely drop their cache usually to 2.
Yeah.
So it depends, but she's 3.
Her stat line is defense 7, willpower 5, 10 wounds, walk of 5, a charge of 6, and height of 2.
So as far as her various defenses there, that's exactly like Lilith.
Really?
7 defense,
you're right. Yeah.
5 willpower, 10 wounds. Like.
So she can last pretty well in the thick of it.
Well, okay. That 7 defense can be against certain things, but
if somebody's targeting her willpower, she's
exactly. Once you start hitting willpower, that's where you start buckling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like plenty of times where Lilith is like, willpower 5. Oh well.
Yeah, like so she joins the club with Lilith for masters that. Marcus is the apex predator against.
Oh God!
It's just like you're a beast, and there's nothing you can do about it. All I need is an 11 to make sure this goes off.
And you won't be able to stop it.
You need the red Joker to stop an 11, and you wouldn't be able to stop a 12.
Oh my God!
So
Marcus
just chase them down
because.
Yeah, walk of 5. He is just gonna chase you down. Of course, that's if he was trying to assassinate Asami. You know, yeah. So Marcus can be an interesting matchup. But anyways, back on to Asami.
Well, we were talking about Lilith.
Good
transition into she has Rush of Magic.
Another similarity.
Yeah. She has Hard to Kill, which on a master is phenomenal. With Soulstone use,
hard to kill. Hard to kill can make the difference. Lilith doesn't even have hard to kill.
Yeah,
that's.
And then this is one of her really nice abilities, Wrath of the Oni. So, other friendly Oni within 4 may deal 1 damage to Asami to be able to perform the 2 charge action as a single action. So, in essence, what you can do is she can summon models, and then she can take 1 damage to give them a charge.
That's the big thing is that. You summon it, it's got slow, but she takes 1 damage, it charges anyway.
Yeah, or you could just make Yasunori charge as 1 action.
You know, because he needed 3 attacks in a turn.
More, because of this.
Well, 3 base attacks, plus whatever his triggers do, yeah.
Casey's salty about Yasunori.
Oh man, that guy is ridiculous. We'll see how he is on the actual table, but he's going to be ridiculous.
As you can tell, these are 2 factions we play against. So, for her attack action, she has another mouth to feed. It's melee 6 with a mask built in. Target suffers 2, 4, 6 damage. So Punk Zombie. No, not Punk Zombie. Actually, better than Punk Zombie on the severe. So, Hide in Shadows, which is what the mask is. She'd get a 3-inch push. And then Devour Hole. After damaging the target, must make a target number 11 height duel. If it fails, sacrifice it unless it discards 2 cards. So, this is a really interesting one where you can just, if your opponent has no cards in hand,
you cannot spend soul stones. Yeah.
Yep.
Now there are 2 checks they get.
Yes.
You have to hit, and there's the duel.
It's melee 6, which is relatively on the high side.
Yeah, melee 6 is decent.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So there's no soul stones to stop it. It has to be cards. But if you do have cards to cheat in for that simple duel,
Yeah.
you know, it's unless you flip the black joker, you can force that to pass easily.
Oh my god, just imagine.
But yeah,
you do that against like your master and you have no hand and no cards in hand.
yeah, and so that whole stat line of her attack reminds me a lot of Masaki. It has an assassinate, it has a push trigger, it has the same damage spread. It's one less melee and one less melee range. Now, that's a big difference. And she doesn't have stalking Basinto. That all adds up to a big difference, but it's still a very dangerous attack.
Yeah.
And that's why we'll talk about this
and also
later.
that defense 7 really does help out where she can be
some things.
She can be in the thick of it and
I don't know about thick of it.
Well,
like,
no, but
if they send one non-dedicated thing, she's probably going to live through it, but
yeah. I mean, like, no, she can't handle Langston.
But that's the thing, she has to have that, because when we get to her summoning, it's relatively short range.
Yeah.
And they want to be even within 2 of Asami. So Asami wants to be at the point where she summons it 2 away from her, and it's then within charge range of an enemy. That way.
Well, she has her summon range is.
No, but her aura, her charge aura.
4.
Oh, 4. Sorry, 4. So she wants it to be 4 away for her aura and within charge. Now, of course, the summoning is 6, I think.
The summoning is 6. Or no, the
range
from the mall. Yeah, it's range 6. Yeah.
So now if you're not going to be charging from her aura, then you can summon the full 6 away or wherever you need it.
Yeah.
Like a Tengu, but even then, 6 is not huge.
Yeah.
In summoning range.
Although it does. Are other summoners usually farther range?
It depends. Actually, when I think about it, I know scrap markers for. I'm completely blanking. Ramos are within 6.
Okay. Maybe it's not so uncommon for 6 inches.
Yeah, maybe not super uncommon, but it still feels like it's not super farther.
Maybe
because I guess part of it is she wants her summons to immediately get in combat. That's why it doesn't feel very far.
So you're probably gonna spend your first couple turns like advancing up, and
right. And depending what cards you have for summoning, you might pop off a summon, especially when we get to the Miyoki. Have something that makes them better for early summons.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
we've got our second attack action is reaching tendrils. Target model is pushed into base contact with this model, and then it has the built-in mask. Oh, sorry, it's cast 6, target number 12, resist defense, and then for the trigger, it's mask, but you need a rams. Pull here and there. After succeeding, push this model up to 6. So you can reaching tendrils. Push the model into base contact with this model, and after succeeding, push this model up to 6. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be an enemy model.
It's just target model. It doesn't specify enemy. Yeah.
So you can in theory move Asami, double walk Asami, like 10 forward, and then pull. Its range is 8. So maybe just be within, make sure you're within the right, and then pull Yasunori or Vatari or any other model right into contact, and then you can push her out.
Yeah, well, exactly. She could move forward, pull something into base, and then push herself. Now that's very interesting. That's a lot of. It's not that bad. But you do want to make sure you get the trigger, and yeah, that's one of those moments where. It does have a target number, so that's one of those ones you dread getting the black joker if you set up where you have to get that push.
Yes, and it's not where now I'm blanking on some of the models. Mr. Graves, where it's like, all right, I'm not resisting. Okay, I just flip a card, I push you.
Right, where you're gonna hit no matter what, even if it is the black. Right, there is a chance to fail because there's a target number.
Yeah. And now to her tactical actions. So she has a cast of 6 and must make a target number of a 6, but it's target number 12 with mass, so you just need any 6. Discard all ski markers in 2 and heal 2 damage for each marker discarded in this way.
And it does not specify friendly or enemy, so
Yeah.
you just get all of.
Yeah, so there could be a moment where you want to get into.
And as we'll get into, her crew has many ways to drop free ski markers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which could.
Or oh my
yeah,
god,
then fuel her healing.
just imagine Asami and what's her name from Nevermore, the new one, Titania. Generate some ski markers. Thank you, Titania.
Well, although in that case, most of Titania's stuff is optional. Although
Yeah.
yes, it'd definitely be an activation battle trying to get around when Sami activates.
Or
and
even,
stuff.
I mean, oh my god, even what's his name from Outcasts, the gunslinger guy.
Oh. Well, yeah, he's another one. If you drop lots of ski markers, he likes to. Oh, and of course, if he forces Sami's crew, she could eat them before he uses them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, again, yeah, that all
It's
comes down to activation.
Yeah.
But it is something. It's a 2-inch pulsifer.
It's a 2-inch pulsifer, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It comes down to timing and positioning. But yeah, it could be very useful for Asami to.
She has a 1-action, 6 of masks. Target another target number. As you can know, there's a theme
Yes.
to Asami. 12 of masks. So you need a 6 of anything. Target Oni or minion gains focus +2.
Yeah, it's a very interesting one, especially since with how focus works,
Yeah.
you have to use the whole stack.
Yes.
So she definitely some moments where she could give focus, and so it's any minion or
And
an Oni.
Casey with a see that's the thing. That's where I say kind of counterintuitive, where you have a lot of Oni with built-in flay, and with how as we go on.
Oh, well,
know.
you've got 2 big ones.
Yeah.
Her henchmen and the yokai in her box both have flay.
And so does Tengu have flay.
Oh,
So does the Obsidian Oni have flay.
really? The Obsidian Oni?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost.
Well, I know one of the big ones, Jaragumo, does not.
Jaragumo does
the
not.
other
have flay.
Oni henchman
Yeah.
does not, and the new rider does not.
Yes. Aoyara Batari.
But the other, I can't remember her name. The Outcast one, the dual faction.
Amanozako.
Amanozako.
She does not have flay, but she can use the mask. I looked into it, as you can probably tell. She can use from Batari.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for giving her focus, she has a huge damage spread. Melee 5, so you want to go after something with the defense you can hit. But double positive on that damage spread. Oh man, she's going to definitely.
If she hits, it's
what is it? 6 or 7 max?
7 max.
Yeah, she caps out at 7. That's going to take a chunk out of or kill most things.
Yes.
You know?
So, and then her final thing, which is her summoning.
Yep,
From the maw,
big
they
one.
come. So it's a casting of 6 with the masks. Target number, the little star, based on the soulstone cost.
Yep.
From
Yes.
the maw.
So it's going to be 10 plus the soulstone cost.
Yeah.
And it's a casting 6. So you need a 4 plus soulstone cost. So like you need a minimum of an 8 to summon any those 4-point models.
Yes.
That's the
Tengu.
Tengu and the
Akanami.
Akaname.
Yeah.
Then there's a new 5-point yokai or 9.
Yeah, you need a 9. For Obsidian Oni, you need
There's 6.
There's 6. You need a 10.
There's a 10.
For
There is nothing that needs the 11.
yes. Then there's the Jaragumo, which is 9, which is a 13.
Yeah.
I think that is everyone. Yes.
Yeah, there's no 7s or 8s right now. That can be summoned.
Yeah. And what the interesting thing about her summoning mechanic is you summon them all, it's at full health.
Yeah, full health, the
but
normal
it
slow.
comes with a condition called flicker. And how flicker works, once this condition reaches 0...
So at the end of the turn,
At the end of the turn,
you lower it by 1.
Lower it by 1, and once you get to 0, the model is sacrificed.
Yes, so her limit is time.
Yes.
They only come with Flicker 1 built in. Now, of course, in her ability, what's the pulse? So when they're summoned into play...
Yes. Discard all corpse and scrap markers within 1 of the summoned model and increase the value of its flicker condition by a number of markers discarded to a maximum of +3 flicker.
So it comes with 1, and it can get up to 3 extra
Yeah, and as we go into certain models like the yokai really does play around a lot with flicker.
Right, and so let's just take the standard thing people are talking about. If you summon something like a Jarigumo or a Tengu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two big ones she likes to play around with. They normally have Flicker 1, which means they're only going to be around for this turn.
Yes.
However, if you removed any corpse or scrap markers by summoning them, that could extend their flicker onto a second or third or potentially more turns.
Yes.
That brings in like a lot of people, oh, Obsidian Oni, they generate scrap, that's nice. But that was in a book before this. Now, suddenly being able to generate scrap off a shooting attack is amazing.
Because then you are setting up for it. And also we were talking about how with her summoning, she is kind of like when if you're playing against Ramos, you know, he's going to be really thinking about, oh, I'm going to be losing some of my spiders.
It's going to force him to play very backwards and like be careful about a lot of that. Because yes, she is just going to be able to, oh look, I
killed 3 of your spiders, like, alright.
Or even just killing one to make way for a summon. Like, you could summon either a Jarigumo with an extra turn, that's potentially devastating.
Yeah.
You can get even more turns with the yokai, because they get the built-in +1 flicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of...
Flicker is very interesting. I think before we go into upgrades, we should talk about Amanjaku.
Yeah, because his is very obvious just from the front of her card, what he does.
So Amanjaku is a 3 soulstone peon totem, and he's an Oni, obviously. He's defense 5, willpower 5, 4 wounds, walk of 6, charge of 6, and height of 2. So, his stat line's kind of meh, but once you go into his other stuff.
So I mean, for 3 points, it's okay, but not great.
He's insignificant. He has disguise.
Yep, so he can't be charged.
He can't be charged, and he also starts with manipulative 13.
Yeah, so he's actually kind of hard to deal with, especially if he hasn't activated yet.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and the thing about it is, like, if you want to, you have to commit so much to go after Amanjaku.
Potentially. The other thing is that when we look into what he does play very back.
Yeah.
He can do his role without putting himself in risk.
So what he does have, he has Trickster for his attack action. He has Trickster Claws, melee 5 with a mask built in. Resist defense, range 1. Damage spread is 1, 2, or 3. However, this attack deals an additional amount of damage equal to the amount of VP the opposing crew has to a maximum of 2 additional damage. So that changes the damage spread from 1, 2, 3 to...
you could have a minimum damage 3.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah. And melee 5.
And...
Great. But...
with Flay.
And then it's got Flay.
Yeah.
And there is a way to get that extra mask built in. Because he has 1 mask, so he just needs a second mask. And yeah, he can Flay, which means... like, imagine just... Lazarus with 3 wounds. I'm gonna charge him with Amanjaku. Flay, cheat into 5.
Yeah.
Just can opener. And of course that's very situational, that's not his actual main role.
Yeah.
But he has this very interesting little claw knife thing.
But he also does have another very interesting Taste of Life. Casting 5.
Technically an attack, but you're probably...
Yeah. Casting 5, target number 14, resist willpower, range 6.
So what do you need?
9? You need 9, yeah.
So you need a 9 to cast it.
It's pretty high though,
but,
actually.
Yeah.
Select a condition on the target model that has a value and increase the condition value by 1. This action may not target the same model more than once per activation. So the what you'd want to use him for, he'd probably be your last activation. You would cast Taste of Life on an important model, like, oh, I want my Jargumon to be around for another round.
So models flicker is a condition with a value,
Yeah.
so he can increase the flicker by 1 as a 1 action.
Yeah.
So now, of course, so that's the most obvious. Technically, he could increase the poison or burning on something. But
also, another interesting thing.
Oh yeah.
Destin.
That is a very interesting one.
Yeah.
So if on turn 3 you've earned 1 destined, he can increase. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
And the other we thought was focused and defensive. Now again, since it is an attack, with a casting of 5, they could resist it if you targeted it for their own like stuff.
Yeah.
So even then, chi, no, but he can't. There's no way to get chi in this list with him. But anyways, so yeah, you're probably targeting your own models. Probably flicker, maybe things like destined or focused occasionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, and he can't do it on the same model, but he can do it twice.
Yes, on 2
so
different
he could
models.
do 2 different models.
You'd have to want to keep him right near next to Asami.
Now, what is the range on that?
The range is 6, so really close.
That's the thing, is he does have to stay with Asami and her summons to get the most out of him. And so he has one more thing.
But he has a 0 tactile action, which is casting 5. You need a 5 of crows, which is not built in. Until end of turn, shoot attack actions at target models within 5 suffer a negative. It is not cover.
Yeah.
So
if it says ignores cover, it doesn't work. But So, but it is like soft cover that it gives a negative to the attack.
Yeah, that's the one thing, that was the one that, like, weakness I initially saw with Asami, because like, she's moving up with her summons, and then she summons all these models, and then like, okay, now I'm going to blast you. Well, the Amanjaku can, if you want to activate him ahead of time, and then you can put that nice
It can
aura,
really help with certain masters.
which is a 6-inch aura, which is pretty... And it's...
I mean, it's within that's roughly Asami's range for her summoning anyway.
And it does also, add, as a warning for you guys, this is both friendly and enemy. So if...
shoot actions target models within 6. So it's a shoot targeting somebody within 6 of him. So technically, if an enemy got within 6 of him...
And you know who else this messes up, Casey?
Oh, yes, it is not cover. However, you know what it doesn't mess up?
What?
Breakcore Trappers. Because they have their built-in positive, it'll cancel out and they'll be on a straight flip for...
Or even Katanaka sniper.
Exactly.
Any sniper. Yeah.
The other is anything that likes to focus, but it does potentially force an enemy to focus with other things.
Yeah.
I think the whole Ortega crew does not like that.
Yeah.
Because they don't like having, except Nino is the only one with a clockwork rifle. Alright, so her upgrades.
Now let's go into her upgrades. Boom. Yeah, her upgrades. So, Feigning Weakness. It's a 1 soulstone. The small gains the following ability: Feign Weakness. If the opposing crew has more VP than this crew after the opposing crew scores 1 VP or more, this model may summon a non-totem owning minion model. The soulstone cost of the summoned model must be equal to or lower than the difference between this crew's VP and the opposing crew's VP plus 3. This model is summoned within 6 and line of sight of this model and gains the Flicker 2 condition. This ability may not be used if the game has ended. Note that the VP earned at the end of the turn are earned by both crews simultaneously. So, I see this one as very situational.
Yes, Feigned Weakness, that's probably the strangest upgrade.
Yeah, so pretty much in essence, you would get the VP difference. So let's say you're
it's the difference in VP plus 3.
Yes. Yeah. So you can summon in theory. Let's say, Casey, you scored 1 point. I was at 0.
Yeah.
I can summon a Tengu for free.
So turn 2.
Yes.
I score 1 point. You score nothing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, you get a free Tengu or Akaname.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, and where it gets weird because it is a 1 soulstone upgrade, but the big thing is competing with upgrade slots.
Yes, which she has a lot of good upgrades.
She wants to take 2 of her own at least, plus 10 Thunders have a lot of good ones.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Like I would run recall training on her every time, just because.
Because that 1 turn of summoning gain positive flips to all your summons.
Not even the summoning. It's the turn that you're like, aha! I've locked down Asami and you're summoning. Deal with it. And Asami's just like, all right, pop recall training. I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah.
Just eat their beater that you sent into her face and didn't quite finish her off. Mm-hmm. And just like Asami's gonna eat you.
Yeah.
And even if you finish off Asami, my crew can win the day.
Yeah.
The rest of the way, like.
It's really competing. Yeah.
But yeah, so just for when it would be useful is if you saw a scheme pool where you would be earning a lot of schemes that score at the end of the game. That's where you're like, okay, if my opponent takes detonate charges and setup, and I take line, or I'm trying to think which ones score at the end for the new Gaining Grounds. A lot of them are simul, but
Undercover Entourage.
Undercover Entourage, Search the Ruins.
Yes.
You know, she's actually really good at Search the Ruins with a heavenly design.
Yeah.
When we get there, so now suddenly she's going to.
Yeah, if you're gonna play like a lot of end game schemes,
Right.
then this probably would be able to.
That's where she takes that, and
Yeah.
but you actually the weird thing is you need a mix of ones your opponent might score early and ones that you can score at the end. Because if they take the same ones you do that score at the end,
then you're wasting a soul stone.
You're both going to be like.
However, with a certain other model that we'll review later, you might be able to, let's say, change it up.
Oh, right. We're going to go into the
the other
words.
one.
And actually, that would
you got it.
that would be very interesting to switch to that one even, if you needed it. Yeah. All right.
So that next one we're going into is a 2 soulstone one, which is called a Heavenly Design, which I really like a lot. This model gains the following tactical action: 0, Heavenly Design, casting 6, target number 12, which you see another target number she has to meet.
Yep.
Relatively low though. Place this model within 6 of its current location, non-base contact with terrain, markers, or other models.
So it's this little place as a 0. Yeah.
Yes.
This is a 0 action.
I mean, but you can do some get the hell out of dodge moments with her.
Well, yeah. I mean, a 0 action 6-inch place. That's great.
Yeah.
For getting out or even getting in. As long as whatever you need to do.
Or you have that really important minion that you don't, or that really important model. Okay, I'm going to place within 6 and num 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 num.
Right.
Yeah. Pop recall training and.
Exactly. It lets you do whatever you need to do, and then of course her
which is
other ability. This is probably the main thing about Heavenly Designs.
Yeah. So we in case you have some disagreements on. Oh no, sorry, different one.
Yes, this is the one we agreed.
Yeah, and Oni's Spirit. When a friendly model is sacrificed within 10, place a ski marker in base contact with the model before removing it.
Yep. So
in
it's
essence,
an Aura 10
yes,
that just gives you finish the job on on Oni or specifically?
Or Oni.
Okay.
Or when a friendly model is sacrificed within 10. So any models are sacrificed.
So so it has to be sacrificed, not killed.
Yes.
So let's say you summon a Tengu, and you don't give it any extra flicker, so it's just at flicker 1. It's gonna be sacrificed at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
Heavenly Designs will drop a scheme marker.
Oh my gosh.
However, I have heard already in like a battle report of somebody doing that, and then the enemy was like, "Oh, I see what you're doing there." Charges and kills it.
Yeah.
Because it was killed, not sacrificed. You don't get it.
But what it does give her though is that end of turn.
Oh.
I need to make a line of scheme markers right now.
Or,
Tengu, and you have it under control.
Well, even so the fact that
Or detonator.
yokai have ways to spin their flicker, so they can speed it up, which means you could potentially drop it when you need it for them. Or just like, you do that cruise missile. I can't remember what they're called. The spider guys. Jarigumo. You cruise missile Jarigumo, let it die, plant a second scheme marker another way, get plant explosives, or detonate the charges, Yeah. It just gives her a lot of options to do that scheme marker placement with her temporary Oni. It's a strong combination.
Yeah, it's really good.
That can force your opponent to do some non-optimal things.
I think when you see Asami, this is probably going to be one of the common ones.
I think because she's good at it makes her good at scheme marker ones, which is why you take her, because you want Heavenly Designs.
Yes.
Which is why you'll see it a lot. I agree.
So then we're going to go into Grasping Strands. This model gains the following ability: Grasping Strands. Enemy models that end the movement portion of a charge action within 4 of this model reduce the number of attacks generated by the charge action by 1. So if you charge her, at the end of this model, if this model ends the movement portion of a charge action within 4.
Yeah, so you...
so it's not only her, it's all models.
Huh?
Enemy
models that end within a 4-inch aura of her, you get 1 less attack. So, and that's the weird thing is, so there is nothing in the game with a melee range of 5, which means nothing can get outside of her aura.
Yes.
Like, even the largest, there's a couple things like Lilithu.
Yeah.
has her whips are range 4, but because this is aura 4, she'll be inside the aura. It's very interesting. I'm not 100%. Basically, things that like to charge, hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing is it does potentially give protection to her friends. So if they're,
So
and it is an aura, so there are ways to block it if you charge right.
Yeah.
But if it's a large model charging something small, then that's virtually impossible.
It also helps protect your other models. But this is what for her reaching tendrils attack, which is the one that
that's the move push, right?
Yeah, the push.
Okay.
It's called. She has the built-in mask, so she needs a ram to do this. After she can take a melee attack against a target, so you can pull something in and get a possibility of a melee attack.
Yep. You could even pull it in, push yourself a small ways, staying within range, and then get to your melee. Yeah. So it lets her use her pull and still attack, which
it's good. Or it's another one where it's kind of situational.
For one soul stone, it depends on whether or not she has the slot for it at that point. One soul stone, I can see it being very useful, but it's two things that are like situationally good.
Yeah.
I like the combination though. Like I think it's one I would probably take, but. Again, we're hitting that cap of she can only take 3 upgrades.
If only she could take 4, right?
Like so many others.
Arcanists really have that problem. Nefarious Pact. This model gains the following ability. It's Nefarious Pact. At the end of this model's activation, draw a card.
And this is another 2. So at the end of this model's activation?
Yes.
Right. So at the end, she gets to draw a card for basically the rest of her crew to use. Which, as we've seen, she is potentially very card hungry.
Yeah. Friendly models within 10 of this model that would have a condition ended or removed due to the action or ability of an enemy model may choose not to end or remove the condition. Okay, so see, this is the one me and Casey are very...
There's some contention.
Yeah.
And, okay, so it's, I think, in a scene where there's a large chance that your opponent is going to take something like Johann, which has offensive condition removal, which can...
Yes.
I summoned, Jerry Gumo with 3 flicker removing some markers.
Yes.
And he's just like, I'm going to kill it with a 1 action. I'm going to shout it to death.
Yes, yeah.
And he rebel yells. Now,
and
it is 2 soul stones as part of the...
And for me, I look at the 2 soul stones and I see it as, so let's say you bring that, your opponent's expecting that, and they bring that condition of removal. Either one, you remove the threats, or you don't go for the long game with your summons. You go with, I'm just going to slingshots things into you. And if you remove the condition, it's... Yeah, it's 2 different play styles, I think.
Yeah. And the other thing is it's in a lot of ways, because Asami has no way to chain into something. She has no companion, or she doesn't have accomplice, and none of her summons have companion. And so the big thing is, if you throw something like a 13 at a Jarigumo, and they have to throw a 5, I don't know with Rebel Yell, let's just say they throw a 10 to get rid of it, if you can't cheat to meet, and you'd have to cheat
to beat it,
potentially to beat it, to get rid of that, depending how you play.
And on the situation, it's
like you've traded your master's activation for Johann's activation.
Yeah.
And of course that just depends. Honestly, the big thing with Nefarious Pact is it has to be one of her upgrades in case a meta develops. I mean, imagine a person who, they get into 10 Thunders, they grab Asami because I love her theme. They start playing Asami. Well, all of their friends start taking shit tons of offensive condition removal because they know how that's a good way to deal with her.
I bring my Rebel Yell, I bring Yin to remove conditions. Yeah.
Well, now you have a Nefarious Pact. So if your meta decides to do that, you simply take Nefarious Pact every time and you're just like, stop it.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, but the thing was, if it was just 2 soul stones for Nefarious Pact, and all I got was otherworldly protection, I don't think I would take it. but the Nefarious Pact for the extra card.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I think what it is, they combine those, the draw card and that, instead of making it a 1 soul stone with the 10-inch aura, and it's like, do I really want a slot for this? They gave you 2 abilities, 2 soul stones, try and smooth that out.
Because that like we're talking about, she's very card. She has a lot of target numbers, and you need cards to ensure you get those target numbers.
Right, and so this gives you at least a chance to draw another high card for when your Jarigumo activates and you need to hit something.
Yeah.
That's also why she's good at giving out focus, though, I think. It's like, hey, Jarigumo, get some focus to make up for the fact that I have no cards left.
Yeah.
You know, spending 1/6 to get 2 positive flips.
Yeah.
Okay,
so now we'll go into...
No,
we'll wait for Batari for that. We can talk about that.
Oh, well, we could...
yeah, well, we're at it. Okay.
I don't know.
The Fate of Mortals. This model gains the following ability.
Well, okay, so it's
it's an Oni
rare one.
So Ama no Zako and Batari and
of course
Yasunori can take it.
Yasunori and Asami herself, but it's not an Asami upgrade really. So 2 soul stones.
This power gains the following ability: the Power Beneath. Once per turn, after an opponent scores 1 or more VP, target friendly Oni within 6 may gain the Flicker 1 condition until the end of the game.
So as long as they score 1 or more VP, that within an Oni within 6, so it's not an aura, so it doesn't need line of sight. It just gets Flicker 1. So as long as the enemy scores.
And then she has another. The person would have another one. Friendly only minions within 10 gain the following ability: the Fate of Mortals. After killing or sacrificing an enemy model, you draw a card.
Yeah.
Which with yokai, I can see a lot of
sacrifice. Yeah. So as long as you kill or sacrifice an enemy model, you can get a card.
Yes.
And then you could. So that's the one you always have is card draw. Which, let's face it, for summoners, they love card draw, and Asami so card hungry that. Like we were talking, if you can get some kills within that 10-inch, that can help get some of those cards back.
Yeah.
Of course, it is a 2 soulstone upgrade, but but I definitely see it in an Oni list.
Yeah, I love the Oni that they added in here. So we'll talk about her.
So yeah, we've done her. So yeah, we're moving on to her henchman in her box.
So before let's do some closing on Asami.
Okay.
I really like her summoning. Her summoning mechanic is really interesting.
Yeah.
And once we go into some of her summons, we can talk about some of the strategies you can do with them.
Yeah.
But she's really good defensively against physical, but any sort of like casting, anything that has to be resistant willpower.
I don't know about really good. The fact that she has good defense means it can be very hard to stick an attack that you really don't want to. But again, that sometimes requires spending high cards.
And for a summoner and somebody who has lots of target numbers.
Yeah, so she's a weird combination. She is a little frail in a lot of ways. 10 wounds. That's on the low side for master. That's like the minimum a master usually has.
Yeah.
But at defense 7, again, it's just the comparison since we have so readily ask any Lilith player and. The biggest thing for Lilith is to keep her out of a position where she's really going to get swamped.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Asami...
Her abilities are very interesting. The ability she can be very hard to pin down. With all these pushes she can do...
That's the thing. Like, if you try to just missile her really early on and you just miss the full thing, you get that one... card that didn't go right, or they cheated that card you didn't expect.
Yeah.
Suddenly, if she has her placement effect, which good chance she will, she can place out.
She has reaching tendrils where she can
get the trigger on reaching tendrils to push herself out.
That Jaragumo that's over here, and I will pull that model in to engage you and then push me out.
I'm trying to think. Her healing by devouring scheme markers, that's even a 0 action.
Yeah.
She doesn't even have to spend a full action to do it.
Yeah.
So she could totally just use her main attack to eat somebody that you send in.
So I don't see her as if you play her like you play any other summon. She's not like any other summoner.
No, because The closest summoner she has comparison-wise is
Molly.
Is probably Molly.
Yes.
Now Molly's a little more durable, but they both have that same in-your-face summoning as a weapon.
Yes.
Like her primary attack is her summoning.
Yeah.
Her secondary attack is those nasty tendrils, all her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
It's and yeah, they just play. So don't be afraid to advance her towards the midfield. I say she would play probably midfield.
well, you need to keep track of the stuff. The big thing with her, like from my experience with Lilith, is keeping track of what the enemy has that can really hurt her and take her out.
Yes.
Because like you probably one of our early battles having like Lilith go out and she tries to finish off in a Toto that was way out there, and a fast Toto nonetheless.
Yeah.
And manages to just barely get him to that hard to kill, like literally to hard to kill.
Getting to melee 8 with a.
And so, keeping track of what can do it, because you don't want to spend all your soul stones on damage prevention.
Yeah.
Just to save her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you gotta. There are moments you gotta be careful, but yeah, you also need her close enough to make her fully usable, and that's again the few times I've seen Molly, that's Molly's. She usually summons a couple times, and she either moves or gets pushes forward into the thick of things.
Yeah. All right. So I think that'd be a good transition.